What's going on, y'all? Thanks for checking in with Callie. Please like, subscribe if you haven't already. So, looking at this season and everything that is unfolding, the Clippers right now are in a play-in tournament situation. And, a lot of people have bet on this team or put their stock in this team since Kawhi Leonard's been on this team. And it's been a lot of injuries, and it hasn't filtered out to what a lot of people might have thought. And a lot of people have given up on the Clippers, given out on Kawhi, given up on Kawhi due to load management and a lot of things. But being on the Clippers, honestly, for just Kawhi Leonard himself, his career really can take a turn for the good or the bad or for the better or the worse, however you want to categorize that. Because you know something? As much as the Clippers have suffered because of the injuries, they also have gained having a player like him being in contention of winning a championship just because of who he is and what we've seen him do in his career. And I feel like a lot of the load management and things, the negativity that Kawhi gets really hurts his career a lot because a lot of people look at that more than the good things he's done on the court. And it makes a lot of people like Stephen A. Smith and other naysayers that follow him and look at it from his viewpoint, look at Kawhi or look down upon Kawhi, even though he's been one of the greatest players in the NBA we've ever seen, just because of his versatility, what he can do defensively. I mean, offensively, what he turned himself into, which he wasn't offensive inclined when he first came to the league. Now he's a 25, 30-point scorer any night he wants to be. And his defense is still good, not as great as it once was because he doesn't focus on defense as much as he used to, but he's still a disruptor and he's still one of the top defenders in the NBA. And he's still a top 5 player in the NBA when he is healthy. And to me, it's not really even a question. Honestly, I think he's the best player in the NBA because I've said before, not many players, or if any player in the league, has his bag and what he does. They don't carry what he does, and they're not built different the way he is. Getting off his jump shot, a flat jump shot that he has, shooting over defenders, getting to his spots without using speed, athleticism, still being able to create his own shot whenever you want to, having multiple surgeries, still coming back, being an elite player, playing at elite level, still leading a team in the Clippers, and he's still the focal point of them winning a championship just because everybody know how great he is, and he's showing signs of it now, and he's been great the last 7 to 10 games that he's played, averaging 21 plus points, shooting 42% from the field, 40% from three. I mean, the guy is efficient. The guy is a disruptor on defense. He is well respected in the NBA, and he's a 2-time champion. So his accolades go far because we know how great he is. But the reason why I say his career can take a turn for the better or the worse is because if he doesn't win a championship with the Clippers, all the naysayers against Kawhi is going to definitely throw the load management thing back in his face, because if they'll always say, just like Stephen A., if he plays, if he stays healthy, and if he shows up on the court and all these things, you can't get excited because Kawhi is there, like one of his takes he had a few days ago. You can't get, excited about Kawhi because you never know when he's going to be there, when he's not, and all the negative things said about Kawhi, even though we know Kawhi doesn't really care because Kawhi is one of those type guys where he moves to the own tune of his beat, the own tune of his music. He doesn't listen to other people. He doesn't conform to what other people say because he's that strong-minded of a guy, which is the reason why I respect him so much, because if you listen to what the outside noise says about you all the time in life, you'll actually start to believe it and get down on yourself and maybe put yourself in a rut or a situation that you don't need to be in if you just have confidence in your abilities. And I feel like Kawhi is one of those guys. He has confidence in his abilities and what he does, and he does it at such a great high level that nobody else can mimic it. The fundamentals of the game, no player in basketball has better fundamentals than Kawhi Leonard. Not one. I mean, he is not only mastered how to get his own shot off with no athleticism and no speed, even though he is an athletic guy. He's underrated athletically, but he always has been. But he knows how to use his body and everything and utilize his basketball IQ to get what he wants out of the game, no matter what injury he has. And that's something that a lot of players can't do when they lose athleticism or they're not as mobile as they used to be. And Kawhi has still found ways to be as great as he has been, and he's showing it now. And if he leads his team into the playoffs and they make a deep run, it's not going to be a lot of things people could say after all the injuries, load management, all the above, and losing superstar talent teammates and still find a way to be competitive. That says a lot about who he is as a player. But a lot of people are going to say a lot of negative things if he doesn't win a championship with the Clippers, because it's always going to be, oh, he got hurt, load management, he didn't want to play the game and do the game the right way. But people forget, they don't realize that he grew up in that environment in San Antonio, and his basketball IQ, what makes him so great is because he comes from players that has showed him the game from a different viewpoint, a different perspective, and a winning aspect, which a lot of players in the NBA don't have. And Kawhi was blessed with that, being on the Spurs, because one of the best players of all time, Tim Duncan, the big fundamental, showed Kawhi how to master his fundamentals, and Kawhi worked on it himself, applied and put the work in himself to master it and be an expert. So now he's at the elite level of where he is due to his hard work and listening to players around him who actually were great and Hall of Famers, and being around a Hall of Fame coach and Coach Popovich as well. So, I mean, a lot of people could say things about Kawhi, but his career is always going to be looked at as great in my eyes, because, I mean, it's not many players that can do what he did, and just on the level of the magnitude of what he's done it. I mean, you look at somebody like Kevin Durant, he gets praised a whole lot, but Kevin Durant is not a better player than Kawhi Leonard. He's never led a team to a championship unless it was the Warriors, so-called, but the Warriors won a championship before he got there. So he wasn't really the real reason why they won. They were the real reason why he won a championship. And Kevin Durant, because he couldn't lead the Oklahoma City Thunder when he had James Harden and Russell Westbrook and himself. You know, so he had talent, a young Serge Ibaka. I mean, there was a lot of talent on that team, and they're up 3-1 against the Warriors. He couldn't seal the deal. He goes to Brooklyn. Him and Kyrie team up along with James Harden. That didn't work out. Now he's on the Phoenix Suns with him, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal. That's not working out. So it's like he gets a lot of praise because his game looks sexier than Kawhi. But in the long run, his game isn't more valuable than Kawhi. Kawhi's value to a team is way higher than Kevin Durant's, because Kawhi could put a team on his back, as we saw with Toronto, and carry him all the way to the championship and win it on one leg without no other superstars on the team, just a bunch of role players. We'll never see Kevin Durant do that because he's just not that talented. He's not that good of a player. His IQ is not that high. He is a great player, but he is not as great as Kawhi, because Kawhi has something in his game where he can flip a game from right to left, either one end of the court to the next, because Kawhi is that good. Kawhi's game is that season. His IQ is that high, and his defense has always been that meddlesome, and his offense is damn near caught up to his defense over the years, or surpassed it, because he's so efficient and he knows exactly what he wants to do every time he has the ball, and nobody can really stop him. He's just on another planet himself when he's healthy. That's the reason why he's a top player in the league, and he's one of the only players, if the only player in the NBA that's ever been a kryptonite or ever been bothersome to the great LeBron James. So, I mean, we have to look at all that into account. Nobody's on that level. Nobody can bother LeBron in his prime and give LeBron a run in his prime other than Kawhi. Kawhi has always been his kryptonite. You've heard Kenny Jet Smith say it. You've heard guys on TNT say it, because he's one of those players who dominated the league at one time with the Spurs, and he wasn't even scoring 20 points a game. But that's how good he was. A lot of people look at him as the second best player in the game at that time because of who he was and how he was dominating on levels that other players couldn't, who put up 30, 40 massive points and not even close to winning at the elite level that Kawhi has. And he's displayed it after he left the Spurs. So my point is, his career can take a turn for the worse because of the naysayers, but his career can take a turn for the best if he finds a way to win a championship with the Clippers. Because if he finds a way to win a championship with the Clippers, a team that's always been a laughingstock, a team that a lot of people never really looked at and looked down upon. If he wins a championship with the Clippers, it'll override any championship he's ever won. Even the one with Toronto that everybody really praises him for, because that was a Michael Jordan-ish type run, legendary run he went on to put the team in that position to win, and they won it. But this championship here, if he finds a way to win one with the Clippers, I just think that's going to you're going to have to put Kawhi probably in the top 10 of all time. Me personally, he's already in my top 10 of all time. But, I mean, they probably have to put him in the top 10 of all time if he wins a championship with the Clippers for 3 different teams and a franchise that a lot of people never looked at as a championship winning organization. Kawhi did it once with Toronto, but doing it twice in his career is unbelievable. Because if you think about it, LeBron won a championship with Cleveland, a team that's never won a championship years before he got there. He did it one time. Kawhi did it with Toronto already, won a championship with a team that has never won a championship. But if he win it with the Clippers, That's two teams that's never been championship bound and never had championships that he delivered championships for. The magnitude of that is on a way higher another level than what a lot of people might even want to even think about giving Kawhi credit for. So, I mean, if he does this, I mean, there's nothing else nobody can say. Absolutely not. You could talk about his load management, but his load management won't mean anything because he won multiple championships. It really doesn't mean anything now because he's won multiple championships. But if he wins one with the Clippers, his load management is really out the door because it's like they can always talk about his load management, but we can always say it never affected his game because he went out there and played hard. He came back from injury. He won championships. And he's a top 10 player of all time. And as I said before, I think he's that now. Because he's already shown me that he can come back from injury and be a top 5, top 10 player in the league every year and be a pest for a lot of teams defensively and be a top player and be in the MVP conversations whenever he chooses to actually play that way and play with the selfishness that we know that he can and go out there and just score the basketball at an elite level and supply defense that other players can't because his hands are so big. He's already proven that. But for the naysayers out there like Stephen A. Smith, if he wins his third championship with a team like the Clippers, what else can you say after then? You got to say he's a top 10 player or somewhere near that space because no other player that I could think of would have accomplished winning a championship for two franchises that had never been in a winning contention, never been a championship caliber team. And one guy goes on there with a bunch of role players and wins a championship, even though he does have James Harden. But this is not the James Harden of the Houston days. This is the James Harden where he's been playing at elite level this year, granted, but he's still not the James Harden of Houston. But at the same time, if Kawhi wins this championship, I mean, really, all the rest is history. He's a top 10 player.